Welcome back, NGDL4 fans, and we have the wild card round of the playoffs going down here against Sharpedo43, a stand-up guy, and we both finished 8-4. He on top of his division. Unfortunately, I am a wild card, but that's okay because yeah, this is a really interesting matchup, and like I said, it's it's a playoff, so it's win or go home now. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get to the final again, and we're gonna go ahead and try to win it this time. This first matchup is going to, have its own unique set of challenges, but is an interesting opponent to get first round of the playoffs because my first match against Sylmar is kind of when the season turned around for me because you might recall in week 10 we were going in, we only had one more win than loss because we had faced some really tough losses in the last couple weeks, and we were on pretty much the verge. If we lost that match, we were going to be like, virtually eliminated. But we ended up winning in a match that I actually forgot to transform Mega Charizard into Mega Charizard X, which I meant to do, and then completely forgot. It was a spectacular match. Leafeon saved the season and all that. Yeah, so things have been going since then, and we haven't lost since as well. So we finished 8-4. Of course, Sylmar, he pretty much clinched the division. I think he clinched the division the same week that we beat him. Because the other contenders for the division also lost, so he's kind of been coasting towards the end of the season since the games didn't really matter as much. But the time we faced him, he was 7-2. Obviously a really strong opponent and somebody that we really yeah, I would say that, but pretty much everyone in the playoffs is scary and someone I don't really want to face in the first round. So that's just the way it is. And yeah, so hopefully we did the playoff draft. If you guys don't recall, in the NGDL4 after the season, playoff teams can basically draft 2 Pokemon from someone else. If you want more information on that and what every team did in the playoff draft, go ahead and check out the playoff preview video. I actually had a panel this year of 3 other guys to weigh in, so that was a pretty good video. Go ahead and go find that if you want, a lot of, of my thoughts about what it is. I'm just going to go ahead and remind you guys, or maybe if the guys that didn't watch that video, what we ended up doing. And we ended up taking Tapu Lele, as you might recall. And yeah, so Tapu Lele comes back, and it was part of that magical NGDL3 run that saw us get into the finals. And it's a fantastic Pokemon, and it ticks quite a few boxes. First of all, I really wanted a fairy, and I just didn't happen in the regular season draft. And obviously, Tapu Lele is one of the best. In fact, I actually did try to bid it in the round 1 of that draft, but I got outbid up to like 50, and it just wasn't worth it. But now in the playoff draft, that team did not make it, so I was able to take it back, and it is actually a huge Pokemon, especially for this matchup. I ended up taking Blastoise as well because I wanted another a Rapid Spinner because my hazard control was lacking. And finally, I did actually remember to transform my Charizard this week, so I am going to be bringing Mega Charizard X, which I feel has a better matchup against Sharpedo than Mega Charizard Y, although Mega Charizard Y did enough work the first time. I just ended up bringing just a physical set and ended up catching him off guard, so this time I will remember to transform, though. But yeah, so my opponent actually made obviously some draft choices in the playoff draft as well, and you can kind of see them in the on the right there in the silver background. And his first choice was oddly a Moongus, and he picked before me because he was higher seeded. And I thought that was kind of a weird choice at the time because I had Shipment Charizard, which is a pretty good check to that thing. But Tapu Lele just made so much sense, especially with that pick in mind, because it's a psychic type, so obviously I can hit that guy super effectively. But more importantly, it limits that Marshadow from being able to use its Shadow Sneak, because that's like a huge part of what Marshadow does that is so scary. And obviously it's also incredibly fast and can hit incredibly hard. But without being able to Shadow Sneak, it is actually a lot more manageable because I can outspeed it with Scarfers. Not to mention, obviously, I have super effective moves. Tapu Lele resists the fighting moves. It is neutral against the Ghost. I kind of think he's going to try to go for a Choice Scarf Marshadow for that reason, which, I'm totally fine with because I can outplay a Choice Scarf Marshadow. Especially if I get some, if I get lowered speed even more so, if I can lower its speed with Sticky Webs. But it would take a lot of the versatility of Marshadow away if he has to lock himself into a move. So having Tapu Lele hopefully will lock down Shadow Sneak, and that's what I really wanted. Aside from that, it does have a fantastic matchup for this week. That aside, aside from the Registeel, I can hit pretty much anything super hard with a Psychic in a Psychic terrain. I'm going to go with a Choice Scarf Tapu Lele for obvious reasons. I'm actually going to bring a Choice Scarf Crocodile. In fact, I'm not going to actually sway too much from the team I brought in Week 10. other than adding Tapu Lele, and I believe I actually removed Leafeon because I no longer bring in Charizard Y. He also added Volcanion, which is a Pokemon I really don't know how it affects me. Its matchup is kind of average against me. Obviously, it can do some work, and that's what I felt with his draft. It seemed like what's the word? Generalist choices from him with the Volcanion and the Amoonguss. It makes his overall team stronger, but I don't see how it really makes him stronger against me. So perhaps he's just looking past me, but in the playoff panel, people agreed that my roster matched up pretty well against his. And, you know, it's actually kind of a complete reversal because I thought in Week 10, his roster matched up really well against mine on paper, but now maybe not. I mean, the Mega Sharpedo is obviously always going to be a threat. His namesake Pokemon is just going to be a problem if he can get a speed boost up. Sticky Webs are super important in this match, so obviously Araquanid is coming. I am going with the Aerodactyl as well, just basically because I wanted a fast Pokemon to pair in the Psychic Terrain, but as well, you know, that aside, I also need Defog, I need Stealth Rocks, and I am going to be using Scarf Crocodile, so it's better that he doesn't fill that Stealth Rocker role. I'm hoping that Mega Charizard X, if Mega Charizard X sets up, it can do a lot of work, but I have to be careful with that Registeel, because you might recall last time he kind of walled a good portion of my team with Registeel, and Registeel is like his one Pokemon that can just reliably take hits from Tapu Lele. The best I can do with Tapu Lele is like Focus Blasted or something, but even that is like not a great option. I will be going with the Autonomized Celesteela again, although this time I will be going with the Z move on it, because I don't have Leafeon anymore, so no weakness policy, which was kind of just like a YOLO set at that point. But you know, the nice thing about Tapu Lele is I think because I have Tapu Lele, he's going to have to build a little bit more for Tapu Lele, which might open up you know, some things for Celesteela and Charizard. And Mega Charizard X is a fantastic matchup against him too, especially if I can get a Dragon Dance off. Obviously, the you know, the presence of a possible Scarf Marshadow makes things a little bit harder for me to set up Charizard. But Charizard has great physical bulk anyway, so much so that it can actually, you know, live you know, a close combat from a Marshadow if I'm at full health. But especially if I can get that you know, that sweet you know, Sticky Webs up, things are going to really open the game for me. He doesn't actually have a really strong hazard removal game either, and that's something I did mention in the first matchup. It's one of his weaknesses. Now, obviously, Marshadow is always going to be scary. This is not a matchup I'm going in like confident, but I am pretty confident. I feel like I have a good matchup now, but what I'm trying to say is I'm not going in like cocky, because his roster does have like just a huge amount of potential problems and things I have to deal with. So it's going to be an interesting match. Hopefully I can come out on top. I was supposed to have this match on Thursday, as you guys know, as I said in the playoff preview, but we had to delay it a bit, so because of things he had that day. So hopefully we can get a win here this Friday night and advance to the second round of the playoffs. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so here's the match, and much to my surprise, he's bringing both of his playoff draft selections, both the Amoonguss as well as the Volcanion, so it was a bit of a surprise for me, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and see what he plans to do with them, because I feel like my squad has them pretty well handled. Maybe a little bit less Volcanion than Amoonguss, but we shall see. I'm sure Sharpedo43 has something up his sleeve with them. So, I'm going to go ahead and lead with Charizard. He's going to go ahead and lead with Melodic, which is actually kind of what I wanted. I'm looking at his squad. He didn't bring the one Pokemon that would really be a threat to Charizard, that being Drampa. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go for the Dragon Claw. I want to see if this thing is going to be specially or physically bulky. And looking at that damage, I kind of think it's going to be specially bulky, and I decided to go for another Claw. As you can see, Scald did a little bit less than half to me, so even if he does Scald me again here, I can go for the Roost because I'll be faster. Although I'm pleased to see that the Toxic missed, so that kind of sucks for him, because that's going to let me just go for another Dragon Claw, which will hit every one of his Pokemon hard other than Registeel, which I know is going to be a massive pain. But if he does go into Registeel, I can just Flare Blitz to potentially take that thing out. And he is going to go into Volcanion, and I'm going to be able to do more than half to that with the Dragon Claw. So once again, I lead with Charizard and getting some very good early momentum, just like I did in the first matchup. So he's going to go ahead and switch into Registeel now as I go out into Araquanid. And another dual switch happens here. As he goes back into Melodic, I guess trying to heal that thing up. As I go right back into Charizard, I switched because I didn't, you know, I kind of thought he would go for the Stealth Rocks, and I didn't want him to get those up for free. It was actually a really hard switch for me at the time. But no, it ends up working out for me because now I can just go for the Dragon Claw again. It's basically free. He goes into the Registeel, and I'm like, okay. Even if this thing is like max physical bulk, I know Flare Blitz should be able to take this thing out. I'm just gonna go for it. The worst thing you could do is go into Volcanion, which just X4 resist fire. But he just goes into Amoonguss, which I'm like, okay, this thing's gonna get annihilated, and that it does. But well, in its death, it gonna go ahead and annihilate me too. It has the Rocky Helmet, and my recoil will take me down. Obviously, that Moongus probably had max HP, so there you go. That's how it filled its role. It just died, but it unfortunately takes out Charizard, which is going to make this Registeel so much more annoying. I know that he's going to go out into it. I know that he really wants to set up Stealth Rocks if possible, so I'm just going to go to my Crocodile, which is like the one Pokemon I have that should be able to scare this guy away. Now, he didn't bring Braviary, which is interesting to me, because I basically can Earthquake with impunity now. All of his Pokemon are grounded. None of them resist it even. So I know the Earthquake is just pretty safe. And like I said, I have the Scarf, so I should outspeed most things. And here he's going to interestingly go out into Sharpedo, his Sharpedo 43, his Mega Sharpedo. But I know he's probably going to protect to try to, you know, get the speed boost to try to outspeed my Scarf Crocodile. So I am going to go to a Arachnid and just get the speed boost up. And interestingly, he's going to go ahead and Mega Evolve instead of going for the +2 speed, but I guess he was kind of hoping maybe I would predict a Protect and maybe try to go for the Sticky Webs. No, I can't afford to let this thing run through my squad. I am just going to go for the Leech Life. He's going to go for the Crunch. I do have, I actually am Impish, so I do have some physical bulk, and I just annihilate this thing with a super effective Leech Life. I do get the crit. I don't know if that mattered. Mega Sharpedo is so frail. It's a super effective hit, and I do have Attack Investment. I just also am Impish. Yeah, so I just take that thing out, and yeah, that Mega Sharpedo is off the table, which is his other main offensive threat. But here comes the Marshadow, the man of the hour, the one that I can't afford to let kill me, and he's going to go ahead and rule the Z move right here off the bat, which is interesting. And I am just going to go ahead and make sure it doesn't copyright claim my video. I just always get so paranoid with these days. But no, he's just going to go for the 7 Steel Star whatever strike. And that will annihilate me, and it's really interesting he chose to do it there. I mean, obviously he didn't want me to get up my Sticky Webs or hit him with the Liquidation. I think I was going for the Liquidation, actually. But now I don't have to worry about this thing being Scarfed, because I already know it's set. I know they'll probably carry the, you know, the Shadow Snake, which I do have Lele for. I end up going for the Earthquake here, because I figure that I should be able to sweep here with Crocodile if I can only weaken the Registeel, which I thought he would go into, but no, he ends up staying in, risking me going for an Air Release or something, which I did bring. And he just ends up going for the Drain Punch, which I did not expect, and basically I lose Aerodactyl for nothing, so I had some massive momentum going in my favor there, and yeah, that really sucks, because Marshadow brought him right back into it at 3-3. And once again, he is going to predict me, as I just go for a Flyinium Z with my Celesteela, and it's... Yeah, so he's starting to out-predict me here, and he's doing a great job at it, unfortunately, because this Supersonic Sky Strike isn't going to do a whole lot. Depends on like the bulk investment of the Registeel, but it's not going to do a whole lot no matter what, because Registeel is just bulky on both sides, and as you can see, it does nothing. That's a stabbed. I mean, it's resisted, but it's also stabbed and a Z move, so it does nothing. Yeah, I have no idea what the spread is here, but this Registeel is just taking my hits no matter if they're special or physical. So, going on my Crocodile, it's pretty much the one play I have here. He goes for the Rock Tomb, so that's going to lower my speed, but it is not very effective. But what this does is it forces him to get rid of a Pokemon. He has to switch. He's either going to go into Marshadow and let me cripple that with an Earthquake, or he has to sack off Volcanion to me, and yeah, he's not going to let Registeel go down, because once Registeel goes down, I can completely break the game open with my Tapu Lele, who is... It's really just that Registeel I can't get past at this point. The Tapu Lele is Scarf, so it can outspeed the Marshadow. I'm hoping just to set that up with either Crocodile or Tapu Lele. I go for the Earthquake, and yeah, he does have to sack off the Volcanion. It's his best play, and I have to just switch out. I'm hoping that Drain Punch is his strongest move. I know that he probably carries the Jab from my Lele, so I'm kind of thinking that Drain Punch is only a stab fighting move, so I know that that can't do... That can't even do half to me, as you can see, so I'm going to get an Air Slash off, as long as I don't miss. So let's go ahead and see. No miss for the Air Slash. A trolling 95% accuracy doesn't get me today, and I bring this guy down to red, which is huge, because with this thing down to red, I know that my Crocodile can outspeed and kill it, even if it gets a little bit of extra HP there. Drain Punch or Celesteela did just enough I needed to do to let Crocodile come in here and break the game open. Get the Intimidate, so even if, I mean, even his priority is not going to do much. I have the Resistance, I have the Intimidate, just going to go for the Earthquake. He's just going to stand, hoping that I'm not Scarf, but I am. And then Marshadow goes down, and his last Pokemon is the Registeel. The only way he would have to KO Crocodile, I think, is if he had Counter. But if he had Counter, he would use it by now. So, going to go ahead and just go for that Earthquake. Takes two of them because Registeel is literally one of the bulkiest things ever, and I hate it, but that is the game. We do advance to the semifinals. Once again, the Dolphiones, undefeated in the first round of the playoffs, always getting past this round. And, yeah, just a really nice match there. I feel like I played pretty well. In the middle of the match, it looks like Sharpedo was going to come back, but I stuck to my, game plan and was able to get off a win. I mean, I knew that Lele or Crocodile, if I could just, force him to sacrifice enough, Crocodile especially, if I could just force him to sacrifice enough Pokemon, I'm going to get him with that Scarf Crook, and that's exactly what happened. But yeah, he played pretty well. It's still kind of wondering if he should he should have brought that Amoonguss and the Volcanion, but he did, and the Amoonguss ended up in death at least. Serving him well by taking down my Charizard, which at the time was huge because that literally took away my best way to get rid of Registeel. So yeah, that is the Dolphins are going to advance. I don't know at this time if we're going to be playing the St. Louis Fletchinders or the Kentucky Typhlosions, but we have advanced for now. We do have the opportunity to swap for one of Sharpedo 43's picks. I'm going to have to think about it. I haven't made my decision yet. There's a couple Pokemon on his squad that I'm looking like yeah, but I do want to see who I'm going to be facing before I make any decisions. But there's a few Pokemon on his team that I'm like, you know what, that could really be useful. Yeah, for now I'm just ecstatic to once again get to the Final Four. And for Sharpedo 43, he played an excellent season and was a really rough opponent. Obviously, it's always sad to see somebody you like go down, but yeah, I'm glad that I was able to advance. So hopefully you'll stick around next time, Sharpedo 43. And yeah, thanks for playing in the league. And today's question of the day is going to be, what's your favorite board game? And the reason I'm asking this is because I'm actually about to go play Gloomhaven, which probably has overtaken the spot as favorite game, board game. I don't really have the opportunity to play board games as much as I used to, and it's a shame because I really do love tabletop gaming. But yeah, so I don't really get much chance, that I'm with Dad and all that. But obviously, I've been able to get a little Gloomhaven group together, and we've been, playing through that game. It's actually an amazing campaign board game. It has permanent board features, so whenever you complete a mission, it affects how the city is. It's a really cool game. If you have never heard of it, definitely check that out. Although it's kind of expensive, but if you play with four, the campaign with 4 people, you split it 4 ways. It's really, really, I can't recommend it enough. It's fantastic fun. But yeah, so leave a comment about that, and see you guys again next time. And go Dolphiones, whether it be against St. Louis or Kentucky. But yeah, I'm just ecstatic just to advance now. So yeah, it's been one roller coaster of a season, and it's not done yet, my friends. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.